Warning: these short stories that you are about to hear may not be suitable for some viewers, and most of them are based on urban legends, so the story that you heard may be slightly different than the one I am to tell you today. But without further ado, let the stories begin.
A family was camping and left their tent to go on a day hike. They were a few hours from their campsite when a storm suddenly blew up. They became disoriented in the wind and driving rain. They tried to trace their steps back to the campsite, but became lost in the unfamiliar backcountry. Being experienced hikers, they knew once they were lost, it was best to stay in one place than wander in the woods, so they prepared to settle down and wait for rescue. Darkness fell, and the family built a fire to keep warm. As they snuggled up against each other and started to drift off to sleep, they heard a noise coming from the trees. "Who's there?" one of the parents called, but there was no answer. Then they heard the sound again, but once more, when they called out, there was no answer. "Perhaps it's someone who can't speak," suggested the daughter, so her mom called out, "Is anyone there? Clap once for yes and twice for no." There was one clap. "You were right," the parent said to the daughter. "There is someone out there." "Are you here to rescue us?" shouted the mom. "Are you lost like us? Do you live out here in the woods?" "Let me try," said the son. "Are you a boy? Are you a girl?" They all looked at each other puzzled. Thinking he was being funny, the son asked, "Are you human?" Now the family was scared. "Are you alone?" called the mom. The family huddled together more. "How many of you are there then?" There was a 16-year-old boy who got a summer job working on his grandfather's farm. One morning, his grandfather sent him into town on an errand to buy some provisions. The boy drove the pickup truck into town and parked outside the market. As he was walking along the street, he was jostled by somebody in the crowd. When he turned around, he was shocked to see it was the Grim Reaper, Death. As he stood there in the marketplace, Death beckoned to him. The terrified boy jumped and ran back to the pickup truck and drove back to the farm as fast as he could. When he got there, white-faced and trembling, he told his grandfather what had happened. "Let me take the truck," he begged. "I'll go to the city and hide. Death will never be able to find me there. It's the only way to avoid my fate." His grandfather told him he could have the truck, and the boy floored the accelerator and tore off at high speed. After he left, the grandfather went into town looking for Death. Eventually, he found the Grim Reaper standing in the crowded marketplace. The grandfather walked right up to Death and asked, "Why did you frighten my grandson when you saw him this morning? He's just a boy, only 16 years old. He's too young to die." "I'm sorry about that," said Death. "I did not mean to beckon to him. I was just startled. You see, I was very surprised to see him here in the marketplace. I have an appointment with him this afternoon in the city." A beautiful young girl was left home alone with only her dog to protect her. On the news that night, they announced there was a serial killer on the loose in the area. Before she went to bed, she locked all the doors and tried to lock all the windows, but the one in the basement wouldn't lock. She decided to leave it unlocked, but locked the basement door and went to bed. Her dog took its customary place under her bed. In the deep of night, she awoke to a dripping sound coming from her bathroom. Half awake, the girl felt the comforting lick from her dog and fell back to sleep. She reawoke to the dripping sound, reached her hand down to her dog, where she felt the reassuring lick and fell back asleep. Once more, she awoke to the dripping sound, reached her hand down and felt the lick of her dog. Now curious about the dripping sound, she got up and slowly walked toward the bathroom, the dripping sound getting louder as she approached. She reached the bathroom and turned on the light. She was greeted by a horrific sight. Hanging from the shower nozzle was her dog, with its throat slit open and its blood dripping in the bathtub. Something on the bathroom mirror caught her eye. She turned around. Written on the wall in her dog's blood were the words, "Humans can lick too."